We lack investment in communications experts to drive change activities and engagement. What can we do? Scandinavian change and communications manager in the FMCG industry asked me this question during our most recent webinar. It's an issue that many organisations, many change management professionals face. Partly it's because, I come across it all the time with my clients. Senior executives, they like the idea of engagement, but they don't want to invest. They don't see the value of investing because we haven't explained it to them. They don't realise that technology development is an enabler of change. They assume that if they have new technology, it will automatically bring change to their business. But of course it doesn't. It's the people changing the way they work that brings the change. And if the people don't change, then the change doesn't happen. So how can we convince executives to invest in engagement and communications for change and transformation programs? We have two options. So we can either ask them to bring in external expertise, so people who work for agencies or work for their own consultancies, who will lead change for us, who will work hand in hand with technology development teams, or we can upskill our own staff so that they become experts. And actually there's a middle way, and that's to bring in external experts and to get them to do the change for us, but also get them to upskill our staff at the same time so that our staff are learning from what the experts do for us. And of course, how are we then going to get our executives to actually release the investment? And the easy way to do it is to look back at historical data, to look at past programs, to look at the costs of past programs versus the benefits, the objectives, the value that they've delivered for our organisation. Normally, this data exists, perhaps in numerous places, but it does exist. Then we want to look at the cost of communications versus the cost of technology for previous programs. When our company has invested in communications and engagement, what difference has that made? What are the costs of failure for programs for our business as well? And what percentage of programs in our business have failed in the past? Then we can use the return on investment equation to explain the benefits of communications to our executives. It's actually quite simple to do. Again, you just need the data. Typically with communications, it will be about 20% for engagement, communication and training activities compared to your total technology development budget. So for instance, if you had a program that cost $1.5 million over 18 months, then typically the communication cost would be an additional 270,000, whatever currency that is in. We also know, that the data says that 20% of programs succeed and 80% of programs fail typically. But when we bring in people change, that flips and 80% are successful and 20% fail. So then we can say that when we're looking at programs, 60% of the cost of a program can be attributed to communication. So we can attribute the success of the program to communication activities. And then 40% to the technology development side. So if we come back to that 1.5 million program, 60% of that budget is £900,000. So we can say that we can attribute the success, £900,000, to communications. The cost of communications is 270,000. So we subtract that from the 900,000. That leaves us with 630,000. We then divide that by the cost of communications and multiply it by 100, and we come up with 233% success is down to communications. It's a it's reasonably easy to do as long as you have the data, and it's called the return on investment equation for engagement for communications. So that's the comms bit. But we also want to research stakeholders, because money is just one side of the equation for success with transformation. The other side is people. And we can be researching our stakeholders, asking them about their past experiences of change, what frustrates them in their current roles, how they expect new technologies to resolve these frustrations, what will persuade them to be supportive rather than resistant, how they want to be involved in change, and how they want to be kept up to date. And again, feed those into executives. And that will underline the difference that engagement and communication makes to persuading people to change. Good luck with this. If you have any questions about how to improve, to upskill your own change management staff to give them real engagement and communication and training expertise, then get in touch with me via LinkedIn.